Okay, so we're going to look at the key to the worksheet called Chapter 6, Part B. And so the first problem is we're going to factor y cubed plus 9y squared. All right, so let me go ahead and do that here. Um, so so y cubed is number one, y cubed plus 9y squared. So remember, the first thing you need to do is look for the GCF. So the GCF is going to be uh, y squared. So I'm going to get y squared times y plus 9. And always check yourself. Y squared times y is y cubed. Y squared times a positive 9 is 9y squared. And that's all you can do here. So there's your answer. So this is going to be y squared times y plus 9. Okay, the next one, number 2, you have 49 minus 4x squared. All right, the GCF is 1. Notice, though, that this is the difference of two squares. And so if you're not sure right away how to factor the difference of two squares, then fill in these parentheses like we did in a previous lesson. So what times itself is 49? The answer is 7. What times itself is 4x squared? The answer is 2x. So, um, so remember, if you have f squared minus l squared, the difference of two squares, the formula is f minus l times f plus l. And so this is f and this is l. The answer is going to be 7 minus 2x times 7 plus 2x. And you can always check yourself. You have time to do that. Foil this thing out. Whatever you put here, if you foil it out, you better get 49 minus 4x squared back, and you do. Because look, 7 times 7 is 49. The outer, 7 times 2x is a positive 14x. The inner, a negative 2x, a negative 2x times 7 is a negative 14x. And the last, a negative 2x times a positive 2x is a negative 4x squared. Combining like terms, a positive 14x and negative 14x is 0. And so I get 49 minus 4x squared, which is what you wanted. So again, the answer number 2 is 7 minus 2x times 7 plus 2x. Okay, number 3, you have y cubed plus 8. So this is the sum of two cubes. All right, now remember the formula for the sum of two cubes. F cubed plus L cubed. So it's going to be F plus L times F squared minus FL plus L squared. So that's your formula. So F plus L times F squared minus FL plus L squared. So here, let's see what goes inside the parentheses. So this will be y, this will be 2, because 2 cubed is 8, y cubed is y cubed. So here's your F, here's your L. So plugging back to the formula, I'm going to get y plus 2 times, remember F squared means F times F, so y times y is y squared, minus F times y, so that's 2y, plus, and then L squared means 2 times 2, which is 4. So that is your answer to number 3. Okay, so number 3, the answer is y plus 2 times y squared minus 2y plus 4. Okay, number 4, this time you have the difference of two cubes in number 4. So number 4, you have, let's see, 4, you have x cubed minus 27. All right, remember the difference of two cubes, the formula for the difference of two cubes is going to be f minus L times f squared plus FL. Remember these signs right here changed. Plus L squared. So it's the same terms as the others except for the sum, except these signs are different and these signs are different. Okay? All right, so over here, you're going to plug in numbers into these, or plug in terms into these parentheses. So this will be an x, and this will be a 3, because 3 times itself, 3 times is 27, and then x times x times x is x cubed. So here's your f, here's your L. So I'm going to get x minus 3 times, remember f squared means x times x in this case, so that's x squared plus 3 times x, and then plus, and then remember L squared means I take L, which is 3, and I multiply by itself. 3 times 3 is 9. So that is number 4. So x minus 3 times x squared plus 3x plus 9. All right, number 5. Comes with number 5. You have 3x to the 4th minus 375x. All right. So let's see if what the GCF is. So I know I can factor out an x. All right, 3. Let's see if 375 is divisible by 3. So 375 divided by 3, and it is. That's 125. So my GCF is going to be 3x. So you're going to say 3x times, so 3x times x cubed is 3x to the 4th minus 125. 3, we just figured it out. 3 times 125 is 375. And so 3x times a negative 125 is a negative 375x. All right, so then what you got to do, though, is remember you got to look at that parentheses and see if you can factor it further. So notice that this is going to be the difference of 2 cubes because x goes here, and then 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So there's your f, there's your L, and you just use your formula. So it'll be x minus 5, so it's your binomial. The trinomial will be, you take f and you square it, plus you take f and L and you multiply them together, so that's 5x, plus you take L and you square it, so 5 times 5 is 25. All right, now that goes here. So the answer, don't forget, you got it. The answer contains that GCF. So it's 3x times x minus 5 times x squared plus 5x plus 25. So that's number 5. So 5 will be 3x times x minus 5 times x squared plus 5x plus 25. All right, number 6, you have x squared minus 10x plus 25. All right, the GCF is 1. I do have a trinomial, so let's see if we can factor this as 2 binomials. So this one should be an easy one because the coefficient of x squared is 1. So when I do this, I'm going to get xx, 25. There's only 2 possibilities. Now remember, the last sign's positive, so both of these signs will be the same. It will be this middle sign. But there's only 2 possibilities for 25. 25 times 1 and 5 times 5. So let's do 5 and 5. 5 and 5, and I need both negatives. Now before you go on, make sure that this is correct. So FOIL it out. X times x is x squared. The outer is negative 5x. The inner is negative 5x. And the last is a positive 25. When I combine like terms, I get x squared. A negative 5x and a negative 5x is a negative 10x. And then plus 25, which is what you wanted. So that's your answer. Now you can write it as x minus 5 times x minus 5, or you can say x minus 5 squared. Okay? All right, so number 6, the answer is x minus 5 squared. Number 7, let's see, number 7, you have 25y squared minus 60y plus 36. All right, so 25y squared minus 60y plus 36. So the GCF here is still 1. I have a trinomial, so I'm going to go directly to 2 binomials. And for 25y squared, let's just try 5y and 5y for right now. The last sign's positive, so both signs have to be the same. It will be the middle sign, so they're both negatives. And 36, let's just try 6 and 6. Now let's see if it works, though. When I FOIL it out, f times f, so 5y times 5y is 25y squared. The outer, I get 5y times a negative 6 is a negative 30y. The inner, a negative 6 times 5y is a negative 30y. And the last, a negative 6 times a negative 6 is a positive 36. Combine like terms, I get 25y squared minus 60y plus 36. So that's your answer. Again, you can write it as 5y minus 6 squared since they're both the same factor. So here I'm going to get 5y minus 6 squared. All right, number 8. Number 8, I'm going to have number 8. You have 12x cubed minus 31x squared plus 20x. So 12x cubed plus 31x squared plus 20x. All right, so the GCF here is going to be just x. That's your GCF. So I get x times 12x squared minus 31x plus 20. All right, so let's go off to the side and figure out if I can factor this trinomial right here. So 12x squared minus 31x plus 20. Okay, so all right, so let's go to two binomials. Let's try 6x and 2x, see if that's going to work. For 20, let's try 5 and 4. Well, 5 and 4 won't work because no matter where I put the 4, if I put it here, I can factor out a 2, which meant that this whole thing was divisible by 2, or the GCF was 2. If I put it here, same thing, I could factor out a 2. So 5 and 4 won't work. 10 and 2 won't work either. So I'm trying to think of factors of 20. So that kind of implies that maybe using 6x and 2x is not a good idea. So let's use 4x and 3x. So remember trial and error. I'm using trial and error here. So let's go back to 5 and 4 and see what we get. Okay, so now remember the last sign's positive. So that means that these signs can be the same and they're going to be negative. They're going to be that middle sign. So let's try 5 and 4. Now I know that I cannot put the 4 here. I cannot put the 4 here because that means I could factor out a 4, which meant I could factor out a 4 from here, and I can't. So I'm going to put the 5 here and the 4 there. Now always check your work. Let's go and check the negative 31x. So that's the outer and the inner. So my outer is a negative 16x. The inner is a negative 15x. And when I add them up, I do get a negative 31x. So this is my answer. So 4x times 3x is 12x squared. A negative 5 times a negative 4 is a positive 20. And the outer and the inner gives me this middle term. So I'm going to get x times 4x minus 5 times 3x minus 4. So that's number 8. So number 8, you get x times 4x minus 5 times 3x minus 4. All right, number 9, you have 6a squared minus 17a minus 3. So 6a squared minus 17a minus 3. So the GCF here is 1, so let's go directly to the two binomials, and let's just try 6. Well, if you do 3a and 2a, for example, if you do 3 and 2a, let's just trial and error. 3a times 2a is 6a squared, so far we're okay. Now the last sign's negative, so remember the signs here can be different, but I need a 3. I need the last two to multiply together and give me a negative 3. Now if I put the 3 here, that's not going to work, because if I put the 3 here, that means I could factor out a 3 from this binomial, which meant I could have done it here, and I can't, because 17 is not divisible by 3. So I need to put the 1 here and the 3 here. Now check your work. The outer is 9a. The inner is 2a. Remember, the last sign's negative. So that means one of these is negative, one of these is positive. The larger of these, the 9, 2 is smaller than 9, so the 9 will take the middle sign. So that means this would be negative, this would be positive, but when I add them up, I get a negative 7a, and that's not what I wanted. So using 3a and 2a was not a good idea. So let's use 6a and a instead. And for the last, let's use 3 and 1. Again, I can't put a 3 here for the same reason I did earlier. So the 1 has to go here, the 3 has to go here. Now let's check it. The outer is 18a, the inner is 1a, the last sign's negative, so that means that either the 3 is negative, the 1's negative, and the other one's positive. Well, the larger of these will take the middle sign. So that means 18a is going to be negative, 1a is going to be positive. And when I add them up, notice I do get that 17a, which is what I wanted, that negative 17a, which is what I wanted. So in order to get a negative 18a, that means that this has to be a subtraction symbol. And in order to get a positive 1a, this has to be an addition. So this is your answer right here. 6a plus 1 times a minus 3. So number 9, 6a plus 1 times a minus 3. All right, number 20, you have, number 10. Number 10, you have 2xy minus x squared y minus 6 plus 3x. All right, notice that you have 4 terms here. So let's do this by grouping. So we'll group the first two, the last two. From the first group, if you look at the first group, I can factor out an xy. So I get xy times 2 minus x. All right, xy times 2 is 2xy. Xy times a negative x is a negative x squared y. From here, we're going to take out this middle sign, so I'm going to take out a negative 2. So I'm going to factor out a negative 2. So negative 2 times 3, negative 3, excuse me. Negative 3. So negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6, and a negative 3 times a negative x, negative 3 is a negative x, is a positive 3x. And so notice these two groups right here have 2 minus x in common, so I'm going to factor out that common factor, and I'm left with xy minus 3. Okay? All right, so that is number 10, and that's the key to worksheet 6, chapter 6, worksheet part B. So chapter 6, part B. So that's answer number 10. Okay?